Good morning, everyone. If you're on the East Coast, early good morning to Laura and those down in the APAC region. Dan Smitley with Call Design North America. So glad you guys were able to join us. Excited to hear about back office and kind of WFM principles. Before we jump into the presentation, Laura, I'm excited to hear about what your experience has taught you. But you and I actually were just meeting recently, right? We were just in Nashville, maybe about a month ago. Man, time flies way too fast. But I think it was about a month ago at your event, Vicky, right? It was the highlight of the WFM year, right? Everyone loves the SWPP annual conference. I know it's always a highlight of mine. And Laura, you and I were talking a lot of back office conversations, a lot of back office presentations. And Vicky, I was curious, why do you think that is? I think this is something you've been tracking for a while, right? Like back office has been in your environment and SWPP for a while. Why do you think this has become such a hot topic for so many WFM professionals?
Well, Dan, I'm great. I'm glad to be with you this morning, and welcome to everybody. We've been looking at back office for WFM for over 10 years, and we've done a couple of different surveys over the past 10 years about back office using workforce management techniques. And what we found is that this is a way for workforce management to from the call center into the rest of the organization.
Okay. Lost you there for just a second, but I heard you saying you have been surveying this for a while now in your society. And I think we talked recently about.
I don't know if you can hear me anymore.
Yeah, we hear you. It's unfortunate that you're having some challenges with the internet, but if you're able to hear us, what are some of the questions that you've been surveying about, and what are some of the insights that you've been getting out of the survey? No, I was afraid that we might have lost you. Well, while she's trying to reconnect, and I'll keep an eye on that, Laura, I'll kick it over to you. Before jumping into the presentation, why do you feel like the back office has become such a hot topic in the WFM environment?
Yeah, I think that, so obviously I'm from Australia. Here in APAC, we have seen a huge increase in contact center WFM staff being asked to actually forecast for the back office. So back office has identified that, they're needing to find efficiencies. They're needing to, service their customers more. There's definitely a demand from a customer perspective and a client perspective to, produce an outcome or provide, a service as quickly as possible.
Absolutely.
So, I cover some of those things in the webinar, but there's, been a massive increase recently. And I don't actually know if COVID has caused some of that influx in requirement, but as Vicky said, they've been monitoring back office for 10 years. I've been passionate about it for a very long time. And, the back office has had an element of WFM practice in it, but I think it's time that, we want to utilize some of those WFM efficiencies that we find in the contact center. Exactly. And get some of that, from the back office environment.
Exactly. The sense that I get is the workforce management, especially in the contact center, has gotten to a level of maturity that we're no longer having to defend ourselves, at least in the contact center environment, right? We have proven that we can gain efficiency. We've proven finally that we can gain some productivity, that we have a positive impact. And I think there's a lot of organizations that are saying, well, can you guys do that over here too? Like, you're doing it in the contact center. Can you do it here? And can you do it here? And so that's where I think the conversation around back office gets really interesting, is where can we leverage our knowledge around forecasting? How can we leverage our knowledge around scheduling? So I don't want to steal your thunder. I know that's what you're going to be addressing. Just wanted to kind of put it in the context. For the rest of the audience, we're going to jump into the presentation here in a second. The time, you might have thought it was a misspelling. No, we are here for 3 hours, but that does not mean that Laura's going to be talking at us for 3 hours. So she needs a break. I need a break on occasion. So the way this is going to work is that There's going to be polls, there's going to be questions. We'd love for you guys to participate, both in the live polls. We'll be using Slido, in the LinkedIn chat. Put in your questions there. Laura will be able to see those. I'll be able to help respond to some of those. And we'll probably do about 45 to 50 minutes of content. Then we'll have a bio break. So everyone, including Laura, can get some water to be able to breathe and to be able to, so you guys will go check your email to be able to then come back in. We'll keep the same session going. There'll be a timer on screen. And then Laura will get into section 2. We'll take another about 45, 50 minutes of content, have another break, and then we'll have that third section. So there's going to be a ton of great content. You definitely don't want to miss it. We are recording the session. So if you do have to step away, if you always come back to this particular event on LinkedIn to be able to access the content at any given point. So 3 hours, a lot of great content. Laura, why don't you go ahead and take it away? Maybe you can kind of give an intro of who you are, what you do here, and I'll put myself in the background and just participate and watch you excel. Thanks so much for taking us away.
Thanks, Dan. And thank you everybody for joining. I really appreciate, the time that you're taking out of your day. 3 hours is a considerable amount of time. So I do hope that, you do get a little bit of insight out of the content. My name is Laura Horton. I am a workforce optimization consultant for Call Design. My hometown is actually called Wakeley. It's a little suburb on the outskirts of Sydney in Australia. And I've been with Call Design for about 7.5 years now, and in the vendor industry, implementing WFO software, training and consulting across back office and contact centers for approximately 12 years. Prior to working for the vendor industry, I've had jobs such as a workforce manager, workforce planner, performance analyst, quality analyst for one of Australia's largest financial institutions. And of course, I've held many other roles within my working career. With relation to the webinar today, I tried to design it to share with you some of the insights into the things that need to be considered when implementing WFM into the back office. So I really do hope that we get some information out of it today for you. But as Dan mentioned, the more questions and insight or information that you can provide is absolutely going to be helpful. You have to excuse me, it's very early in the morning here. It's 1 a.m. Sydney time. So I'm a little bit croaky, so I do apologise if I have to go on mute occasionally. Okay, so who are Call Design? Call Design was established over 20 years ago. We have staff that have many more years of experience across a huge expanse of industries globally. So no matter how big or small, we're an organisation of problem solvers on a mission to help you achieve your goals and make you all champions in your business from a WFM perspective. We strongly believe that everyone has the right to be happy, engaged, fulfilled, and aligned at work, regardless of your job or role description. So let's take a little look at the agenda for today. I want to talk about and set the scene for what is WFM. So not having visibility of who's on the call. Some of you might be WFM experts. Some of you might be back office experts. So I've tried to kind of blend a bit of the two, to give some insight from both perspectives. We're going to have a look at how back office work is different. We keep talking about it from a contact center perspective, and in a back office environment, it is different. So we're going to talk about that. What is work and how is it defined? We're going to have a look at forecasting in the back office and talk about that in a little bit more detail. Then we're going to look at resistance. I'm kind of going to flip it a little bit from WFM to more around, how do we get the success that we want from a back office WFM implementation in our business? And what are some of those challenges that you may come across at time? And then look at, what is the potential ROI? What does it look like? How do we talk about it as workforce managers and workforce planners to our business so that they understand the value that we can provide from a WFM perspective? And then we'll talk about some next steps. So setting the scene, what is WFM? So workforce management is a set of processes and strategies aimed at effectively managing and optimizing an organization's workforce. You may have heard that adage, right people with the right skill in the right place at the right time. We all say it, but it's true. That's exactly what WFM is about. It involves various activities that span the entire employee life cycle, from workforce planning and forecasting, scheduling, performance tracking, analysis, and lessons learned. WFM is promoted to help organisations achieve operational efficiency, improve productivity, and good customer service. However, times are changing. So in today's economic climate, we know that we need to provide quality customer outcomes, and to drive staff productivity, that we need to focus more on developing our people and making them feel valued. So if you're in a WFM role, you typically have three main stakeholders grouped into three different categories. We have the business, you'll have your staff, and we'll have the customers. So let's have a look at those in a little bit more detail. From a business perspective, work comes in, but we need to know how much work. We need to know what drives the work coming into the business. We need to know how many departments are involved. Is there a specific order it needs to be executed or completed in? Who or what influences how much work you have, your peaks and troughs, the highs and lows, is it seasonal, and all of those different questions need to be answered. What are the workload drivers, and what order do they need to be done in? So what about the non-critical tasks? So who monitors those? And we know in organisations there's work that needs to be done that really isn't customer facing, but in the back office it needs to be completed in some way, shape or form. We need to make sure that there are contingencies in place to make sure that that type of work actually does get done. We're not starving those work types from resources. So WFM plays a critical role in the back office and provides visibility of the workforce demand to better understand, manage service levels, and helps manage compliance with labour laws, and streamlines communication, provides insights into business performance, and a whole heap more. From a staffing perspective, the concept of employee engagement gained prominence in about the early 2000s. Researchers started studying the impacts on various organisational outcomes, such as productivity, customer satisfaction, and profitability. So it became clear that engaged employees were more likely to deliver better outcomes, better performance, provide superior service, and stay with their organisations for longer periods. We want our staff to feel happy, engaged, fulfilled, aligned, and you'll hear me say that a couple of times today because it really is the core of what Core Design believes. People come to work to do a good job. Nobody comes to work to do a bad job. And workforce management helps with employee engagement by promoting work-life balance and job satisfaction. It sets clear expectations and allows staff to monitor their own performance, reducing confusion and increasing motivation. Empowers employees with self-service features to manage their schedules and tasks for the day, fostering autonomy and ownership. It uses data to recognise and reward high-performing employees, making them feel valued and engaged. Skill development and growth opportunities can improve employee success and enhance engagement. Our staff come to work with the intention of doing a good job and servicing our customers. WFM supports employees by promoting work-life balance, clear communication, empowerment, recognition, and growth. From a customer perspective, we know that when our customers make contact with us, they want a response and an outcome, a result as soon as possible, and they want it done right. WFM assists with faster service by ensuring we have the right people working on the right tasks at the right time, reducing the time it takes to produce the outcome expected. Customers get better service quality by ensuring we have the right skills to complete the task at hand, enabling staff to provide personalised assistance tailored to each customer's needs. WFM supports service consistency across different teams and channels, and overall providing service speed, quality and personalisation, leading to a more satisfied customer experience and stronger customer loyalty. So what insight does WFM bring to the table in the back office? So it tells us how much work is predicted to be coming in either this week, this month, next year. What the predicted backlog for today, tomorrow, and in the future is, something different to contact centre space. And how many staff do we need? And what are our skills gaps? So there's a lot that WFM can actually provide from a business perspective. Quick summary on WFM. It optimizes resource utilization. It helps to improve productivity, helps to enhance customer service, promotes employee engagement, provides us with data-driven decisions so that we can make decisions with confidence, achieve operational excellence and better quality outcome for customers. So what is the back office? A little bit of the back office. So back office refers to an internal operation and administration tasks of a business or organisation that supports a customer outcome and internal activities. Think of the back office as the backbone of the organisation, handling the tasks that keep it running smoothly. It typically includes a range of activities that are essential for the smooth running of the organisation. These activities are not always directly visible to customers or clients, but there is at times direct interaction with these customer or clients depending on the type of work that's being done. A good way to think of back office is think of them as the unsung heroes who handle the paperwork, they crunch the numbers, they produce a product, they process inquiries and applications, they ensure all necessary boxes are ticked for legal and regulatory compliance and provide the end service. So results or outcomes for your customers is ultimately what they're trying to achieve. They work diligently behind the scenes to support the frontline staff and make sure everything is in order. The back office serves as a hidden ingredient that enables the smooth and productive functioning of a company, often operating behind the scenes without much attention or recognition. Whether you're a pharmaceutical company, working for a warehouse manufacturer, or any other environment, there is generally a back office function that will fall into a similar category. So I'd like to take a moment to present a poll. So what is the ratio that you have in your environment of back office staff to contact center staff? And just give me a moment while I get this started. Start that. Sorry, internet's a bit slow here. Bear with me. Okay. So what is the ratio of back office staff to contact center staff? Do you roughly have less people in the back office or more people in the back office? Do you have 2 times more people in the back office? What does it look like in your environment? Three times more staff, fewer staff in the back office.
And I'll jump in with you, Laura, real quick, just so that everyone's aware. The QR code right there, just pull out your phone to be able to scan it. That will be a live poll. That poll will actually be the same link. So don't close it as soon as you answer. This is going to be the same Slido that we'll be using throughout the presentation. So if you haven't already, I already see that we've got 6 different responses. In there, Laura, it looks like most people, at least 50% of people, are saying fewer staff in the back office than the contact center. So is that surprising? Is that roughly what you would expect?
No, it's actually not what I was expecting. I was actually expecting to be more people in the back office. I know here in Australia, you know, we're in a situation of transition where, you know, a contact center is being blended more and more with the back office operation and the back office work. So we're seeing a slight reduction, but not to the point where there's actually less staff in the back office than there is in the contact center. So this is a little bit surprising to me.
Interesting. Well, like I said, I'll go off camera. I'll hide in the background, but for the rest of those that are participating, again, just keep that link up, whether that's on your phone or on your desktop. Laura will be having additional questions, and then we'll use that same exact link. But doing great. Thank you so much for the content so far, Laura.
Thanks for that, Dan. Thank you for explaining. Okay, interesting. So we've got fewer staff in the back office than in the contact center. Yeah, it'd be interesting. Maybe I should have asked an additional question. How many people do you have in the contact center? So that kind of gives you a little bit of insight in terms of the number of resources that we're looking at. Yeah, interesting. Thank you for that. Appreciate it. I'm just going to go back to the presentation. Thank you for participating. So let's talk about the back office for a moment. So back office actually holds up to 60% of the knowledge required to provide a greater customer experience. They have in-depth knowledge about products, services, and internal processes. The knowledge is crucial for addressing customer inquiries and resolving complex issues. They also play a role in continuously improving the customer experience by analyzing interactions and implementing process improvements. So a single customer request could result in multiple steps across multiple teams and multiple departments. So let's have a look at some of these statistics. So while the back office may operate behind the scenes, its impact on customer satisfaction is actually quite significant. Up to 60% of customer dissatisfaction sources are actually found in the back office. Up to 17% of a customer's loyalty is a result of operational efficiency. 61% of organisations have their front and back office report to the same internal business. 24% of organisations combine scheduling practices, blending front and back office. And 15% of organisations use the same software for their front and back office. So through efficient processes, effective data management, support services, streamlined communication and continuous improvement, the back office directly influences the quality of your customers' interactions with your business. So why don't more organisations have a robust WFM program embedded in their business? We'll talk about that a bit more in a moment. I wanted to talk about some efficiencies. WFM is a collaborative tool that facilitates knowledge sharing and communication between teams and can identify where to find efficiencies. So 60% or up to 60% of human resources typically reside in the back office. The poll didn't show that, which was really interesting. I was not expecting that at all. We definitely find that here across APAC, that there are more staff in the back office than there are in the contact center. So typically finding efficiencies, you know, when we're looking at finding efficiencies in the back office, we're not always talking about cutting our FTE. And we're not always looking to do more with less. But it does provide us with insight to find more appropriate ways in which to utilise our staff or generate more revenue for the business. Imagine that your business could do with extra availability and resource time. You could either improve its skills and capabilities by freeing up time so that staff can develop their skills, not to mention the time to invest in innovation and find better ways of getting work done, because we're in a really strong competitive environment. Your staff are valuable assets and have extensive knowledge on how to handle the customer needs, providing outcomes or products and services. Your staff are the ones who sometimes have the best innovative ideas. And it might not be for everyone, but imagine being able to proactively plan time in their day to work on the enhancements and process improvements. I don't know about you, but that would definitely increase my sense of purpose and job satisfaction. And WFM is a powerful tool for identifying efficiencies and optimizing resource utilization in a strategic manner. Its goal is not solely focused on reducing staff numbers, but rather on leveraging insights to find more effective ways of utilizing existing staff or generating additional revenue for the business, as I've mentioned before. On the other hand, WFM is a powerful tool that can be used to validate resource gaps and support leaders with data-driven insights that validate the need for more staff, because we always hear in the back office they don't have enough people. So it can then in turn reduce burnout and attrition. WFM empowers your organisation to create a culture of continuous improvement and innovation, where staff members can actively contribute to driving positive change and achieving better outcomes. So how is the back office work different? I'm going to start talking about the work in the back office environment. So if we have a look at a back office organisational chart, you can see that there are many different business units. We've got many different layers. We've got many different departments. We've got disparate teams, disparate systems. And it's typically a massive environment, unlike the contact centre. So previously I was working with a customer and they had 120 different systems that they were using. They have 800 different types of tasks that they work on. So it can be quite a significant piece of work from a back office perspective. So a little bit of a insight pictures, I guess, about all of these different types of environments. And I guess the similarity between these pictures is that there are no headsets. It's not a contact center space. So back office work is actually unique. It has unique characteristics and requirements that do set it apart from the contact center environment. It involves tasks that are typically not customer facing and often require specialized skills or knowledge to complete. It has a deeper level of complexity and variability. Therefore, it's important to acknowledge these differences and treat back office work accordingly. So there are different types of work that come into the business. And the first thing that you need to do is understand, well, what are the different fields that you're planning for? Most organisations have a version of a customer relationship management system, but there's an abundance of work that can arrive into your business in many different ways, shapes and forms. So we've got emails, mail, chat. This is just a very, very summarised list of some of the way in which we service our customers from a back office perspective. I want to just pick up a process to talk about, back office work again and just elaborate on that a little bit more. So if we were to look at, say, a loan application as an example, when we visualize the process flow for a customer interaction, it kind of looks a little bit like this. We have our first step. Let me just get my little laser pointer ready to go. We have our first step here where customer is applying for a loan and they have sent in their application for it to be approved, get their money. First step is it needs to go into the applications team. In the applications team, they need to provide a conditional approval to customers. So anybody that's borrowed money would understand that that's part of the process. I'm not sure how it works in America, but this is how it works here in Australia. It'll then move into, say, a document preparation team, which is a different team, different set of people, different set of functions, where they will prepare the document, validate the information, ensure that everything is, I's are dotted, T's are crossed, and everything is in order from a financial and legislative requirement. And then it will move into the finalizations team, where the loan will be approved and the payments are made, money is drawn down, and the customer can go ahead and purchase whatever it is that they have applied for the loan for. What it actually looks like is something like this. So when we talk about the client's end-to-end journey, it can often be a bit of a mishmash. Customers are calling into the contact center to find out what's happening with their application because it's taking too long to get a response. The work might flick between the different business units or between the different teams because information might have been missed. The data quality isn't correct. There have been some errors in the application from an internal perspective. The customer, again, is calling in to find what's happening. So, there's this constant to and fro between back office, contact center, the customer, even potentially a broker, depending on the process that's been applied in terms of how they're actually applying for their money. So when we look at it from that perspective, we know, in reality, both departments can actually be affected. And the efficiency of each will, with the interruptions, can be actually validated. If we have a backlog in the contact center, if we have a backlog in the back office space, then it can affect the number of calls that are coming into the contact center and vice versa. So gaining visibility of the true behavior of the customer journey can definitely help identify issues with the process or even the documentation provided to customers to complete. If WFM is constructed appropriately, it can uncover processing problems and issues that may have otherwise gone unknown. So in the next section, we're going to actually talk about, looking a bit more closely at the back office, and I focused a little bit more on the financial industry from this perspective, but it does cover a broader span of organisations. However, the concepts can be applied regardless of what industry that you're in. Dan, have there been any questions before we head to maybe the first break?
Oh, no. No, so I've been paying attention. It seems like we've been having some great participation on the polls, but no questions are coming in so far. So I think we are good to come to the break. Before we jump over there, though, one of the points that you made of, the back office impacting the contact center, I think it's just one of those points that's so easily overlooked, right? Where we just think that the silos are a lot more siloed than they really are. There's a lot of impact between the customers are coming in, impacting the contact center, and that's going to create these backlogs of tickets needing to be addressed. And those tickets being backed up are going to cause even more calls, and just the opportunity to have better communication across teams is just so abundant. So loving the content so far. I'm not seeing any questions coming into the chat, but it's been wonderful so far.
Excellent. And you're absolutely right. And it's good to have that conversation, because it's not something that I've talked about here in great detail. I've more focused on, some of the nuances with back office, specifically when you're implementing WFM. So we're actually not stepping on toes
Right.
by having this conversation, which is good. But it's absolutely true. And I think that anybody that works in any environment would believe that to be true also. And they would have already seen it, especially if you're in WFM and you're working as a WFM manager or specialist in the contact center space. You would know that if there is a backlog in operations or in the back office with any of their processes or their tasks, then the influx of work coming into the contact center and calls coming in because customers want to know what's happening. I do. Exactly. I don't know about you, but I've applied for loans before and it's taken longer than I wanted. I'm sitting there waiting for an answer and I want it quick. So, from firsthand experience, it's not, and I'm sure a lot of people have experienced the same. You've got certain deadlines that you need to achieve. You're excited about making something happen. And when the back office is not working efficiently and you're not getting the result that you're wanting, then it can be really frustrating from a customer perspective. And there've been times before where I've, not from a loan perspective, but where I've actually canned a service and gone somewhere else because it was taking too long from a customer service perspective. Right. And I wasn't getting the result that I wanted with any sort of inquiries that I'd sent through. So, it can have a massive impact on customer attrition, and being able to retain and customer churn. So, it really is critical to make sure that back office is working as efficiently as, we possibly can to increase, our customer engagement. So, yeah, you're absolutely right.
One quote that I've kind of been rattling around in my mind today, and honestly the past couple of weeks, is clear is kind. I'm pretty sure that's coming from Brene Brown's Dare to Lead structure, but clear is kind. And for me, the relevance here is, as a workforce manager thinking about going into back office or already there, clear is kind in the sense of having that communication between front office and back office. There's a element, this is not micromanagement, right? And I know you're going to talk about adoption challenges. You're going to talk about kind of the pushback that some environments have. Clear is kind because what we're trying to do is to improve the communication of the customer to the organization. We're trying to improve the communication from the agents taking the phone calls or chats or emails to the back office that's fulfilling gift cards, fulfilling loans, fulfilling insurance, whatever that is. And there needs to be this constant communication. And this is not, for me at least, this is not micromanagement. This is not big brother, what are you doing, when are you doing? This is kindness. This is kindness of saying, where are we at? How can we improve? How can we improve the relationship with the customer by reducing friction? How can we reduce the challenges of the back office employee by figuring out how to better forecast and schedule around the workload? How can we improve the lives of the agents because the back office work is being done efficiently? So as I think about this, I just wanted to kind of throw that perspective out. I think it's fantastic. Let's get into the heart of forecasting and scheduling for this back office. But if there's people out there that are challenged with, I don't want to go through this again, I've done this in the contact center, try to position this as kind of almost a kindness play, that you're trying to improve the communication almost in every environment by better forecasting and better scheduling. So I think you said we're up against the break. Is that correct?
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. So I think do we have a timer? Is that correct?
I do.
Perfect. Okay. So why don't we go ahead and get that started. For the rest of the audience, we are not done. Do not go away. So we do have a couple more sections that Laura's going to dive into, more just back office good stuff. So we got the timer running. Everyone, we'll have to, there it is. That's all right. Everyone grab your coffee, grab your tea. Laura, it is now almost 2 a.m. Please get some sort of coffee or tea so that you can keep going. We love what you're providing. And we'll join back here in a couple minutes. Thanks, everyone, and we'll see you in a few.
Thank you.